Ghana, in a day, we consume about 112,000 barrels.
A day.
A day. A day.
Dakrope.
In a year, we consume 36.6 million barrels, which is 5 million metric tons.
I see.
We spend $400 million to import the 70% refined products into Ghana.
All the Medina the citizen Kofi also. We ne opini bakwa Ghana ha eboni di pa dia mingidi se obeka se woni mi no. Of course se utimi enemy no. Ne din ankasa de Ora Rosley Onassis. Na opini sabia monika say you know na the deputy CEO the ma Petroleum Development Hub.
Petroleum Hub Development Corporation.
Petroleum Hub Development Corporation.
PHDC for short.
PHDC for short. Honor the Deputy CEO for Operations and Technical. And I'm what? I say. And the opinion analysis. And then they mean I'm about fee. You know, some of my cover. That's what I'm about cover.
They said they do studio now, but
yeah, I see.
So we jurisdiction.
That's and from Ahoto podcast. And you remember to saying every
what they did actually. I say, Edi Juma de Kessepa ma o my Ghana.
I say,
yes,
also my Ghana.
Yes,
Any minimum. Ebi obi oti achire oni mu. Say no bet me. Ama obi ehun say era Rosley Onassis ni.
On say Danny nyina no. Ana se me ko eko chia eye Ghana adehye no ma. Na enyoma mienu epiem. Obi oni me no, otimi din na. The first instance na Ghana ni ana because the surname Rosley. I mean we can rosary. I mean that's the point. Then but the roots is the colonialism. Also me the victims of slavery Yura Mahama Jumadi Okodino UN reparation.
Yeah.
Mr. Kemby, because when you trace the Rosley family emanated from America. I mean, there's a large Rosley family. Yeah, there may be some papas to me but that's the surname. But I mean, me feed him to a Kobe Onassis. And the other one is also like, your ban now saw a Bema. So those two confusions, that's what I saw a Ghana. My chiefy, Western region and Western North. My papa side, and Zema and Awin, and my side, and so a winner. And you know, me Ghana ni. You know, I tell more Ghana. I could school. Onassis Kobe Rosley.
Rosley.
Yes.
Onassis Kobe Rosley.
Yeah.
Tenye Rosley. I see.
But even the Onassis, I
believe say it for me who Dini Boni Rosley.
Yeah, Rosley.
I see.
But I mean, if you frame it Onassis now, politically Onassis Kobe Nana will be a name.
Politically Onassis Kobe.
Yes.
All right. So share with us your journey into the space as the deputy CEO at the PHDC.
I mean, I think it's been a journey of hard work and dedication. I'm a political animal. I grew up in a political family. Mm-hmm. My granddad was the first MP for Elembele. Mm-hmm. John Epila. Mm-hmm. That's my father's side. And then I stayed with him briefly. And when he was a principal at Yosu Training College. Mm-hmm. So on the first MP of Elembele. Mm-hmm. Then my father, I mean, growing up, you know, my dad was in fact the first youth organizer for Swaman constituency, which is that year. So, and those were the days. My father, so one kind papers. I mean, he's always buying newspapers, which is graphic. Mm-hmm. So the area is also kind. Mm-hmm. First, the political column.
I see.
And so about sports also it has a folk in it. You know that you know. Mm-hmm. And those days, so one share talking point. To me, share a drama. No, it was a precondition to watch a can drama. We also watch a can drama. And so you want to watch talking point. And talking point was where politics were made. And for me, I started politics way before attaining voting age.
You started politics way before
I attained. In fact, Obia Oneme Co School or Kumasi Ashanti region, Konfanoche, preparatory, and say, I mean, those were the days. From JHS, we argue both on political lines and on sports. Yes, so that is how the interest came in. I think the major leap was with KNUST doing Teen Ejuma, NDC intellectual wing Ejuma. That's where the springboard was. But even before then, I mean, single-handedly, I led President Rawlings then, somewhere in 2004, when President Kufuor was seeking for a second term. I ushered him into the township of Sefia Science. So then, I had placards, 2 placards, inscription. There are pictures to show. We go to the venue, the rally ground, and I handed back Kuma. We were just standing.
And what was the inspiration there? How say Rollins say Bana as a young chap like you know who did Rollins here?
And then you tour a bar. Western offer in KMPP. It to me even about 30%. Because those days there was no seat for the MPP.
I see.
It was quite unfortunate. Do baby somewhere in 2004 there about baby any a beja contraband beji also. Fortunately, all those things seats have been won back, except Swaman, which even President Mahama won the presidential, but we lost the parliamentary. A Jumedia PNDC, NDC, Edima, Western North, Seshi, and Kasano. Ye Renfi, the Bia Yakai.
I see.
Into Kohodia, the NDC. I mean, those were the days. And some of us took to it. And of course, so my MAU said the NDC was the party to join.
But to join the NDC, no, not a free fee. And I say,
a free because any CP I say for.
No, and papa PNDC ni at that time, but maybe another party no any choice of party be open. And for so na they will party no. And I say one kasa utnas here now uti party no say ya e mon komo tie no who say there be ye any party say to me edeme hodon. And I say because it be a Western North now the NDC was everywhere. That is the reason why you also joined the NDC. Is that so? No,
I mean we realized the impact NDC. A war Western. I mean, those times growing up, now only a friend saying light. First time seeing in a Munkania was under the NDC. First time seeing a quota was under the NDC. Cocoa, I mean, the treatment of cocoa farmers, I mean, getting farm inputs to any now was under the NDC. So the development at a bar Western North, and we now a shim kana. The Beya didn't know NDC. And true to it, Meme Chiba, the current deputy treasurer for Kwabri East, and he's the health insurance scheme manager for the place. He's seeking to become the organizer in the place. We just didn't sit on the fence, thinking so now over LGDA or NDC Munti and Untino. No. We worked hard. I worked so hard. In KNUST, I worked so hard when I went for my master's. Then in Dundee, I worked so hard speaking for the party. I started speaking for the party way back in 2005. Some of us started even as serial callers. You started radio with Felix Fusukwachi and co. Back then, KNUST. You Kumasi politics now. The recognition finally came. Aside acquiring competencies within my field, I did MBA in oil and gas, international oil and gas management from the prestigious University of Dundee in Scotland. And then I practiced oil and gas for well over a decade. So, and I mean, I'm an authority within the field. Now, a bass, Akunya Bass was you be also an oil and gas sector like the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation. I think your man penny share. Me CV share me track record on that. Me send me factor. That's how. So it's a combination of hard work, both in private practice, career-wise, and then politics as well.
So 1 year in PHDC, what will you say so far as being a deputy CEO, giving all the support to your substantive
Chief executive.
chief executive? What would you say you guys have been able to achieve within the 1 year of you being as the deputy CEO of PHDC?
I think that it's been a great moment working together with my boss, the Dr. Tony Obin,
Yeah.
and then my other colleague who is Hajja Sadia. I mean, what we must understand, this is let's say some sort of startup happening. I wouldn't say Jumedi Biano or Shasia, especially when your mandate is that wide, the task is that big. I mean, you are supposed to facilitate and promote the building of 900,000 barrels per day refinery. You are supposed to facilitate the building of a year 10 million cubic meter of storage tanks. Talk about the petchems, petrochemical plants. Talk of the jetties. These are multi-billion-dollar projects. It's huge.
Yeah.
So it's not a child's play. Now, there were some steps made, the paperwork and some steps has been taken and some successes chalked. But we needed to also improve on it. And our first year task was that we needed to promote the organization. We needed people to know. And so but for we coming, let me show someone shouldn't take petroleum hub in cancer. There are a lot of people.
So far as I'm hearing, I'm sure, and as we are having this engagement, you take us into the PHDC.
Yeah.
What informed it and how
it came about.
That was the PHDC.
Okay.
And it's what about the
so the success, I mean, just before that one,
yes,
was to just promote and go on roadshow and get investors. I mean, we have as much about 160 investors who show varied interest in the project or mobile, and we've signed about 5 MOUs, and then a lot of improvement in terms of performances, also. And then there were the issues about our land. Some had even gone to court, thinking some of us they are not ready to release their land for this project. President, any year, some petitions were sent. We've looked at it, and then the president of the country has ordered the land size, can be, looked at now. As and when you need more, then we can go in for, which we are working around it. Yesterday, we met with the sector minister of the Lands and Natural Resources, who has given his full support. Our minister, the agency, the supervising ministry, which is the Energy and Transition, Dr. Janapo, has been phenomenal in his support. So the dream is still alive. Yes, and yet easy, because you are talking about having sustainable funding for the projects. I mean, are part of it, because you need to pay compensation.
Yeah, sure.
You need to add value to the land as well. And the land acquisition. So there'll be a lot of successes.
Well, so take us through PHDC. Petroleum
Hub Development Corporation.
Hub Development Corporation.
Often, so ubi say obiashia ichale mo hodie na mo yejo. Ubi say na unim bibifa ye hub no ho na petroleum hub was na say nye kra petroleum at here.
So we so petrol that na mo ye ho adwuma.
Because unim say ye wo NP, National Petroleum Authority.
Yeah.
I mean, people say they are doing well. Petroleum Commission, which is a regulator of the upstream.
Yeah.
The NPA regulates the downstream and the midstream. There were Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, which is GNPC. That is an upstream operator. Ghana Temaoye refinery. Okay, and then say no. Petroleum na wo ho na ma.
To become petrol, depends on the petrol.
So The PhDC, I always say, for when you share Tema. You see, Tema is an industrial city, right?
Yes.
The concept was to also have a refinery, which Tor is there, to have some tank farms. Tor, normally other private tank farms. There are terminals, pipes. There are petrochemical companies of a sort, though they may not be of big standard. There are pharmaceutical. But the problem is that the situation, the way they are sparsely situated, the demarcation, because ensure that any well coordinated, modernized. So we want to have a modernized city of Tema. So then you look back to Rotterdam, Netherlands. So we jokingly, you pay tomorrow, the Rotterdam of Africa. What it means is that the land that we are acquiring, we're going to have all these key infrastructures situated there. We talk about the jetties and the ports. That would be for the loading and offloading. Then you talk about the refineries. That will have a capacity. We talk about 3 refineries, 300,000 barrels per stream day each. In the end, if all 3 comes on stream, they're talking about 900,000 barrels per stream day.
Yeah.
They're talking about storage tank that can store about 10 million cubic meter of product. I mean, be it crude or be it refined product.
Yeah.
They talk about the petchems. Petroleum crude is such that you can derive hundreds of products from it, byproduct from it. You call them the derivatives. You talk about asphalt, you talk about condensates, you talk about ammonia. I mean, the pharmaceutical feeds. I mean, aspirin that you take, everything, it comes from these byproduct of crude. So the petchems will be there. Those are the key infrastructures. So, but I mean, you need to have power supply to the place, which are all ancillary infrastructures. You need to open up the telecom situation there. You also will need to put up hospital, Kwatana Hospital. You need to put up schools, modern schools. So anything via a crew, that's what we are talking about. So we are having some sort of Rotterdam in Jomoro. So that is the exact.
I don't know what you say, Jomoro, to be the place of the hub.
Yeah. So they needed a place along the shore now, depth of seashore, very high, which can anchor any vessel of any type. Because vessels if you don't have a deep shore, you cannot bear. Yes. So that was a suitable place. Fortunately, and also close to our fields.
Yeah.
The Jubilee fields and all those ones. So they keep 3 points. So if you have to pipe from producing field, it wouldn't be difficult. And also, SI Ebeng, trans major road. I mean, right there you enter Côte d'Ivoire. No, but so it's a very suitable area that we have as the hub. But our act, your one Kevin, does not restrict us to have the hub only in Jomoro. The act mandate us anywhere we find is suitable for a project that can be brought under the hub, that can be considered. So at the moment, Krana, your name GMPC, Kasa, share some opportunities within the voting basin. They are yet to, explore. We are looking at those and collaborating in that regard.
Well, the PhDC won't come on. I'm told to say PhDC, from the look of things, is going to be first of its kind in Africa.
Yeah. So you see that will even
as a
take me
to
what is happening in the Middle East. We share all over the world. Kamiak, I say, continent be a petroleum hub.
Yeah.
You see, there are differences when you have just a refinery seated there.
Yeah.
It's not an integrated value chain service provider, like providing those kind of services. So integrated one will have the mid and then the downstream, with that interplay. Now, when you go to Asia, Asia has some amount of hubs. I have visited Singapore, Johor. I have been to Malaysia hub, and it's an eyesore. China do have a hub. In the Middle East, there are a lot of hubs situated there. When you come to Europe, you go to Belgium, Antwerp, you go to Rotterdam. They all have hubs. Africa, a problem, no? Yes, until recently that Dangote came on stream, which is also seeking to add petchems to it. Nanka yenshede ni any major refineries. Refineries in Nigeria, which produces more than 1.2 million barrels a day, was just about 400,000 capacity. And those were different refineries, refining combination. So, and they were a lot of times, it wasn't modern. It wasn't a complex refinery. Because you see, you can have a refinery that is not so efficient because you cannot refine to the barest product. But Dangote has the 650,000 refinery capacity per stream day, which is not even optimized, and he's seeking to increase it to 1.2 million. It being said in Africa, you go to Niger, you have some less than 80,000. You go to Cote d'Ivoire, even West Africa, you go to Cote d'Ivoire, and you have some 65,000 one day. You go to Equatorial Guinea, you go to Gambia. Like the West African refinery itself is not really non-existent. So now, I say, what should the demand? But the emphasis you come and say, Ghana, in a day, we consume about 112,000 barrels.
A day?
A day. A day.
Dakrope.
In a year, we consume 36.6 million barrels, which is 5 million metric tons.
I see.
We spend $400 million to import the 70% refined products into Ghana. You see, there's some sort of 30% that is seen to be refined in Ghana. But that's how it is. The crude do not come from our fields. These refineries, i.e. Tor at the moment, sent you. Tor does, the capacity is 45,000 barrels per day. Centio's capacity 40,000 barrels per day. Aquaba does 10,000 barrels per day. Platinum does 3,000 barrels per day. But these are even the calculation of how much they do. But at the moment, Tor does 28,000. So it has not been able to go to the optimum capacity. Centio does 36,000. They have a capacity to do 40,000. In fact, Aquaba are doing 13,000. It's woefully inadequate. Considering what, and these people get the feed from outside, either Angola, Nigeria, or maybe Russia, if they are lucky to get crude from there. So you realize the demand is so high because, see, at the moment, our fields, I wear me and son, and when I Yura Mahama, Edija, Ghana, Akufuado. For 8 years, there was no new well drilled. Dabio,
Mama Ja, me and Sunday tour no. 8 years.
Ebia Mekan.
MPP and Fabia Mekan.
Fabia Mekan. So the offshore industry was dead. I was in private practice. I was a service provider. I was a director of operations for a company. And we had contracts around. And those times, you call a Takradia. That is before 2016. There were activities. There was life. But after 2017, the activities died. there was no life in Takrade. So for the 8 years, yeah, well, be account. So there are 3 fields na a year Jubilee, 10 Sankofa are still the ones producing. And these fields are aging. At the moment, the 3 fields produces 254,000 barrels per day. But then again, if offer what Tor needs, offer sa refinery na miansana, when say enka omo ye 50 it's like 98,000, even if omunyina air refine it at the bottom, but we produce 254,000 here. This a year feed even these refineries for the short term with this crude to refine now. I think say enka ebebwa, and I know me sector minister has started engagement on that one, but we could have started. Because at that time, the production level was so. But when say you feel so, you production level so if you could have started where President Mahama left off, by now, no talk could have been properly retooled. Investment can say when man can or more could be the cry. But all these things were 2016 was the only year President Mahama tested the efficiency of TOR's machines and by asking GMPC to supply TOR with 2 million barrels of oil to refine. And TOR successfully did that. TOR was able to refine 2 million barrels from a year GMPC stake in the field, because cumulatively, GMPC has about 19.8% in all the 3 fields. So your average calculation now. That is on behalf of the people of Ghana. So Ibrahim Mahama year and 2016, which should have been a springboard for Yero Kufuado Abain to continue. No? Rather, what we heard was that at the point TOR was out for sale. Now Ibrahim Mahama came back. Thankfully, TOR is working. Something that was out for sale was able to make a profit of $2 million, and now they are working. They could refine 28,000 barrels a day. So the vision, as I see it, is okay. Some time to come, no, we should have these local refineries, no, refining our own. When that happens, the stress on your local currency will go down, because imagine say offer as much as $400 million to buy products, refined products, which you are even denied of the derivatives that comes with it, compared to say be aware refining or has say now between your derivatives, you get the bitumen, you get the urea, ammonia, or whatever to do local production of fertilizer and those ones. Now you go and bring those ones in country at that moment. In a year, you're talking about $4.8 billion to import products.
I see.
Say if you are refining your local one, what that means is that, I mean, how much would it cost to transport maybe crude from the fields to TOR? You can even pipe it, even if it's vessel. But say uto efi German so like udifi Rotterdam neighbor, there's a cost of the transportation. That is the insurance. So the freight cost, the insurance cost. It don't enough feed into the pricing of the petroleum, apart from your margins, your levies, now or the total.
So can be because we can say because you are more indebted into the matter. You're born a tough so PhDs here.
We are coming in for the long term. The American for the short term. The long term, we are hoping say once we start operation, Ghana should be able to refine at least, if one refinery has started, 300,000 barrels per day.
Per day.
Per day.
If
Mutimi at the one, even one refinery
with the PhD in more
exactly.
Or minor essay you 300,000 barrels per day.
So that means even our 112,000 that you consuming has been taken care of.
Yeah, sure.
So you are left with some surplus of maybe so the 200,000. The thing is say, a year landlocked countries, Burkina, Niger, some oil they are refining, but I mean consumption levels so high, so they are even net importers. That means so more important be Benaba and a year Mali. These countries, they consume 4 million metric tons of product. 5 million. They consume 4 million. And when you are selling to them, you don't sell to them at Ghana price, you sell to them at the world market price. That is a hard currency that you are making revenue, good revenue. The other countries around, and then Dangote, you see, last week, Dangote was supplying some BDCs in Ghana. Some are picking it from a friend said Dangote refinery. So apart from creating huge jobs for our people, you talk about tens of thousands of jobs for the people. Exactly. For the people of Ghana, there's that revenue aspect. And then you are sure of fuel security. Now, security, they are into two folds. One, you're talking about availability. Say, product, say, buy, and I 10 million cubic meter of tank farms. I don't think, say, I say, oh, if any be fever. On my stockpiles, which is the requirement. In fact, OPEC requires that in order to be fuel secured, you need about 90-day stockpile. Those who have it, even if the war costs so a prolonged beyond 2 months, you be sure say it be almost some 1 month stockpile be there. Oh, they will not release it. Those are strategic stock. They will not release it to the system until it is required.
I see.
So then you'll be assured, say, at least pricing wise, we are okay, and then there will be availability of the product that we're mining, and then making good money out of it. All about, I mean, this is how
PhD
it takes with refinery, the minimum you can have maybe 6 years. So them can say long term,
so
to have
everything.
to have a refinery fully operational. But there are ones that you can go in for the tank farms to store products, because if you had enough stock, or my way more, and can you be say be enrich and I mean reduce say versus be if 300,000 barrels be if Russia but we like 3 weeks ago and I MPH because so you war only 6 week stock. So these ones are supposed to replenish those ones that have been used. So nanka instead that and panic. And again, we could have by then it could be a ton lesser amount too, because before the war started in February 28, the price was like $72 per barrel. Now it is an emission of $118 per barrel. What it means is that we could have made some windfall, because you then would have saved some, and now you've made windfall. So, and the economics of it. So, I mean, they cast a long term. The short term has to be do with Total and then other refineries in the system.
I see. Because the Kaiser boss second be a chairman said this year 2026 is going to be an action year.
And we are
what does that mean?
What is it that you should see activities on the ground? Last year, that's I say we did a lot of investment promotion and then we did subsidization this year. So next week like this, we should be in Jomoro. We are engaging the community, and then starting a lot of activities. So that is what the action year is about.
I see from the baby out as a PhDC. Iran ne US ne we tokwe I see ama enne okoye pamsa prices ne shoot to costly. But Abani say saying and I'm a position the afa and my say mine. Where now we have to struggle to get some kind of oil into the country.
Unfortunately, that's the situation we came to meet. There was some stagnation at the point. For me, we think saying a band irrespective of the obebaso no, the obeba no also twaso. You just say you are Mahama yes some or making some steps with regards to reviving tone. Naka band that I know or twaso. Me you just say a year time. Yura akufa do buy na onya 3 shells no no say ko to me di be den e kan ho na kan production level e koso for us at Phdc no there be a can say Middle East is not an option because o share abakosemu a akoye say ntokwa empa e wo Middle East dodo nso nyina akoye oil nsemia anytime ntokwa ebepie wo Middle East bia no the effect becomes oil. At the moment, yes, there are people who are pushing for green this, green that, and the green transition. It should be just transition anyway. But the world at the moment, energy needs 82% is dependent on fossil fuel, which is i.e. oil and gas and its other things. That means if you thankfully, in Africa, even West Africa, there are a lot of discoveries being made. You understand, say, you remember by na kakra down Tower Chill kakada Springfield in year 9. That be year few. The Jubilee partners in a year 9 had indicated that they want to inject new investment into drilling more wells, 2.5 billion. They've started. That should tell you a precedent or person will revive it. The industry, because the Middle East has not become, it's not an option. And the thing with oil, they say the world is addicted to oil. I mean, inflation. Today, I was listening to the UK Prime Minister, and it is so gloomy in the UK. Yeah. America has experienced 35% hike in pump prices. But this is America, a net exporter of oil, a net producer of oil. In fact, they are the leading producer of oil in the world. They are doing almost 22 million barrels a day. Consumption is 20 million barrels a day. But Nawaka. But for the performance of our city, thanks to Yura Mahama and then the finance minister, I don't know where would have been now. By now, and can you be 13.3 now year ton? We should have been going beyond the 7. Because mind you, in 2022, as at November, now you talk these are 23 cities. Near top petrol, 17 cities.
That is 2022.
2022, after Russia, Russia, coincidentally, Russia-Ukraine war happened in February. Same as Iran and Israel war. But at that time, the price of crude was around $90 per barrel. Today, the price of crude is $118 a barrel. Yet, petrol is 13.3. What do you think accounts for that? Just look at the mathematics. As of November, you know, when the war started in Russia-Ukraine, I mean, within the February, there was a little hike.
Yeah.
That was around 110. And after June, it came down drastically. Now, in November, the crude price, Brent, in the world market was $90 per barrel. And we were buying petrol at 17 cities. This time around, as I speak with you, it's $118 per barrel. And the petrol is 13.3. What accounts for that? In fact, diesel then, in November 2022, was 23 cities. Today, I think it's around 17 cities. What accounts for that? It should tell you, say, someone somewhere is doing a lot of it. And you see, and we're now a year 17, a year 13. Mind you, you know, there is a energy sector levy, 1 cedi, every count.
That's so, yeah.
That is sanitizing the energy sector, paying for the IPPs, legacy debt, and then also paying for crude the power thermal plants. You know. Until so 1 cedi we are doing 13 cities. We do 1 cedi, that's 12 cities, right? But with that 1 cedi, then and at the lesser crude price, you know, they were buying it, they were selling to us higher. So it should tell you, say, you're a Mahama, born home, more than. So all these, we are saying, is okay, the long term should be PHDC. Forget about Middle East. We can, at the moment, but let's also secure ourselves here so that the shocks, you know, aim to me and hit because once it affects China, it affects Europe, it affects India, where we pick products like fertilizer, products like refined jet fuel. I mean, talk of all the byproducts, if you know, we will always have the shocks here. And until you know, that is what PHDC is also looking at.
Actually, era Rosley Onassis Kobe and Aiding Como Deputy CEO at the PHDC as operations and then technical. So of course you could feel say technically no he knows what he's doing. Anyway, the Onassis, yeah, sure. What can we pray about PHDC, the Mopasemo year, Butayamo war, and Tokawe see Kuran, Jidisaka PHDC, Kamatu Tumunyeme na I don't think that we may be crying over this.
Not much.
Yeah, I see. But you said you may go for more. Until I'm actually, you know, and no, be na wabo so actually.
Yeah, no, be na and more you to
I see.
President watching you must say. It's not easy. He recognizes the difficulties.
What can say a billion? Why?
Yeah, but that's not. You see, this. Okay, so let me do the clarification. My clarification. We just I'm gonna GDP quite.
Yeah.
I used to when we came, the estimation as was done by the previous administration was a $60 billion project.
$60 billion project.
So when I meet some of my colleagues in here, comes, hey, I'm almost 60 billion. I'm wanted to say. But I see, this is how the model is. That's estimation. The womb as a bank, money say, you bet acquire the land in our name, then lease out the land to investors. You see, all these key infrastructures that I spoke about, they are supposed to be spearheaded by private investors. Just like anywhere. When you go to India, the biggest refinery, in fact, in the world, complex, they were India, Jamnagar refinery. They refine like 1.4 million barrels a day. It's owned by Reliance. I mean, it's a private company. America company, Exxon, and they all have business interest in refineries around the Gulf. In China, in fact, Uber UK, some of the refineries, you have Chinese investment interest in it. So all over the world, the private sector, except some sort of strategic refineries, which mostly within 100,000 less refinery capacity, that have government involvement. So these ones are supposed to be, and from where we sit, there have been a lot of interest in some of these key projects. So, way billions number. Yeah, from with the base was here and say, what's it to me a Boama lands commission. The peace come with your compensation. Because I did share no more assassin now wage. You know, there are crop compensation to pay, land compensation to pay. That is where ours comes in. Land size initially was 20,000 acres.
20,000 acres.
Yeah, but then there was some sort of petitions from certain quarters. And so, Oman Penny ASN, some reduction. So, per the reduction now is 12,300 acres.
12,300 acres.
So that's what we are doing. That's 5,000 hectares.
Hectares.
Yes.
5,000.
Into the core acres, 12,300. That's what we are looking at now. And for Lands Commission to acquire it, MIN. And, you know, the area from which there is to acquire it in our name, then add value, service the land. Because if you want somebody to buy at premium, you need to add value to the land. Then producing, helping them with acquisition of permits, and then supplying them with workforce and all those ones. So those are our parts. So then to say the billions, are coming from us. I mean, a lot of people have expected. My mom is coming my mom. I'm not trying to say we propose as a buy. The last Abakwa is ready to raise like $2 billion to go into town for. Then we'll pay investors in be my now.
Anyway, let's jump into politics. What by my tia say bibia mo ye bia mo pese mo reset system no. So far, you're almost 1 year and some few months into abaya mo ba mo reset agenda na nyima mo to say o tie chire na o ya any baby I do asha say sumo o mai any me ko say
yeah me ado me koyi say me catch there be I want to confine myself to me sector. Na kaseni na under president ka. And the president it just simple so yeah and nano in yet sama or the tuja. Na say ekoyi you tie dan den ya tie sign and so a finance minister. And so or the so in who say ekoyi the indicators are good. The president has declared a big push. We see constructions all over. Baby Abekobia. For me, all the indicators are looking good. The only Bonnie said the spillover of the war in the Middle East, impact, and because for what I've seen, where I sit.
Oh, yes, okay. PP40, almost war. Because almost same more. Ebra na munya bemo. Omoka say Russia Ukraine war can be in our economy and yama enquiry no say only I can because they can't manage the economy well. And then nemo once I say the Ukraine Iran Israel war excuse me.
My catch say you see whoever goes on that tangent and until no let me tell you until the petroeconomics as until geopolitics and so I say there's no literature that supports the Russian-Ukraine war affected Ghana. Rather, me, from what I've read, the reviews I'm making, it should rather benefit Ghana. And you see, people do not understand. This is what it is. Russia-Ukraine. Russia used to supply Europe with gas and some fuel and crude to refine. The major buyers of Russian crude used to be India and China. When the war broke, Russia discounted crude price as much as $30 on a barrel. These countries, because mind you, US has sanctioned and even UK has sanctioned Russia, so they were not buying their product. Now, your markets, you see the oil and gas market such that you deal with the BDC deals with traders. So the traders will find products. Then you tell it's okay, and the barrel. In fact, if you're buying refined one, you use Platt. So Platt, you say okay, today is 650 per metric ton. So then you look at the cheaper one. Oh, a bit in Fanaba. Then you look at the cost of transportation. The freight cost, and then that the CIF. Now it's okay. The metro fee. Either Antwerp, Rotterdam, UAE, or your friend saying India. So the traders are all over. You can find some in Swiss, Antwerp, and so they are all over. You don't even need to physically know where the product is coming from.
Yeah.
So these refineries, I mean, India takes as much as 40% of its crude from the Middle East, but takes chunk of them from Russia. More than 40 as well from Russia. If 100 of the friends are buying. Same with China. Now, these refineries bring it to the trading market, international market. Ghana was buying. And once the crude price is low, it's competition. The trader want to price that one low. The only cost the insurance and then the freight. So it was supposed to benefit Ghana. There was no way there was even shortage. It's not like today people are even hoarding strategic stock. It's not like today that people are signal and say, they are rationing even light. Both states are say 6. What was that? It was in Germany that by 6 was a shops closing. So there was access. And at that time, Russia discounted it because they needed to fund the war. The only way Russia to fund the war was to sell its crude and then get money to fund the war. At the other hand, you are talking about ABR Ukraine. Ukraine, I mean, what sort of trading do we do Ukraine? Wheat, grain.
Yeah.
Now, we buy a lot of our fertilizers from Belgium then. If you don't have the Belgian market, you look at the Indian market. We trade with India. At the moment, this war has affected India, China so much. Now, have you thought about India not producing fertilizer? Have you thought about India not producing pharmaceutical drugs? Have you thought about India not producing textiles, the fabrics? Have you thought about Chinese manufacturing? Because the Chinese economy, it says that 60% of its energy needs for its manufacturing comes from outside China. China only produces 40% of its crude. They can either Russia, and I said Middle East. Then it used to be Venezuela. Now Trump has gone to take over Venezuela.
Yeah.
So the Chinese manufacturing market being affected today. There are people who trade. I know people who buy stuff from China that as of 2 weeks ago now there have been increments.
So Patrick said the Ukraine
So
Russia war
dynamics is
affected.
I want someone to, in fact, even countries like a friend is saying South Africa that trades more with Russia and Ukraine. What was the impact of that war on those countries? Could they get grains? They get a lot of crude from those countries. Ghana grains doesn't defeat Ukraine. I just want someone to give me the figure. And I've told you, say, even when the world market price went as low as $90 in November, the previous government was selling petrol to us at 17 cedis.
Yeah.
Diesel at 23 cedis.
Yeah.
So where's the justification? But Obi, with all this, you are talking about a choke point, that in a day, as much as 130 vessels, a faso, a baby product, either in Europe, so that you will be to access to the refineries, buy from the either Amsterdam and I say Antwerp. Then Echo, your friends in China, Echo, India, close. Your situation, even the other alternative, straight, which is the gate of TS, the gate of TS, and which also see to about 12% of the transportation of crude and oil products and also threatened by Yemen, the Houthis. You are talking about insurances that have increased. There's no even movement. Then you want to compare Russia-Ukraine war.
So it means more excuse justifiable. That's what you mean.
What with the?
Yeah, what can I say? More excuse number using the Iran,
no, you don't. You see,
the Israel war
citizen
as justifiable. Done
citizen.
The NDC claim, the MPP claiming
citizen. Sometimes you don't need me.
The Russia war.
See, you don't need me to tell you. Maybe I can't say answer or a politician or a politician. Makola ni bana ko China ko fani oma. Me chidi se o place order and I ko China. Ni atoto nneoma mu a ono aba be ka kiro.
Yeah.
Oko Dubai na say electronics, which are even derivatives from the petroleum products. Ye kwani atoto mu a aba be ka kiro. Na say wo anya bi, o ka say you produce bi wa na say production ayesula aba ka kiro. When a friend of mine told me about order bi a wo place in China, na ne supplier and say 2 minutes. When a friend of mine are waiting, a friend is a supply of some cars at Wato, and then the supplier is telling himself the vessel are delayed for almost about 2 weeks. It's on the high season because of the war near now. You don't need me to tell you. Or more India, eco fabrics. Even fertilizer. No? You don't need nurses to come and tell you. At that time, you see, the impact is say that people who interface with some of these businesses, they are telling their stories. Maybe I say, but I'm telling you, say, they are called why not Becca just you greens if Ukraine when you be. And I'm what to be that. So there was there ever an issue about shortage of products in Ghana? No. Was there, which part of the world was saying that now you need to ration your friends' power? Some are even saying that you need to work from home. It be said for 4 days now. Yeah, which part of the world, went to that extent? So you may not need me to come and tell you that. I'm just putting these things, facts out as a basis for education. Yeah. Then independently, people can do their own research. They can also want to have a feel of it by bomb we buy here, Dubai for some days, Didn't we all see it on the internet?
Yeah,
when the bombs were flying into the Dubai
Khalifa
airport, people were stranded, Didn't we see?
Yeah.
When the aviation industry is hit by shortage of jet fuel, won't we feel it? Yes, for the politics of it, people are allowed. But for me, I've always said the Ghanaian electorate, Nigeria Mudo. They focus as if you are sitting not twaba. And so the parliament are sitting. And they are in today, thanks to technology, you can be watching what is happening elsewhere without you being around. First, Nanka. You be trying to be say citizen car. And today, if citizen car, I'm also at liberty to go and do further verification. And, for me, I've said this thing over and over. For almost 3 weeks now. I have not gotten any NPP in India to come and counter me, except sarcastically, the person will say, someone can say Russia and Ukraine. I said, bring the literature, bring that establishes and I will show you why I think the Russia discount of crude to places like China, India, and Co should have benefited. And I will show you why you shouldn't have sold petrol at 17 cedis when the world price was 90. And I will tell you how superior President Mohammed's policies are by selling to a 13, even with the levy, 1 cedi levy. At a timer, the world price is 118.
But some Ghanaians are calling say that 1 cedi ya crowd quickly abanyin free or say you come bet me high because as it stands now, you need to talk.
Yeah.
And fango no bonus so kwa na ekosro. Would you agree from your area where you're coming from in this petroleum business? Say a buying any the 1 cedi levy of free to ease us in this 4.9% Tomana.
So I will agree with any
because
policy.
minority in the crack can say
I will agree with
I
will agree with any policy decision the president takes, and then I think the president yesterday signaled. So if it gets to a point that you think feels also suspended that 1 cedi levy now, and even some other taxes and margins now, he will look at it. All over the world, governments are weighing options. There are areas people have been taking out subsidies. There are areas people are taking out suspending some taxes. So president has indicated, when it gets to a point where he thinks the burden be too much for the people of this country, you really look at those things and then take the appropriate decision and trust President Mahama to do what is just and what is needful. So, I will agree with any decision, policy decision the president takes.
From the president.
From the president. Because he's
the pressure the minorities.
Yeah, as for the pressure, people, a minority there are some people within civil society who have called for the suspension of the price stabilization levy and some other levies and those ones. Just like I said, the president is very sensitive to the plight of Ghanaians, and he is looking at all those other options. People, in the one of the target, strategy of the Iranians was that they want to push the world price as much as $200 per barrel, which it gets to there, and everything has shut. Everything has come to a halt. Thank God it's a month now in Goudou. So you are looking at, I want to believe there's a threshold the president might be looking at and thinking, say, once we get there, we can relook at some of these things. I mean, this is a president who comes out magically with something just to relieve us of burdens. So he said there was a betting tax. He realized it was nuisance. He took it out. There was the e-levy. Yeah. He realized it was nuisance. He took it out. He relieved some burdens. And then I remember his attention was drawn to some tax on it. Was it condom or something? He said that I was taking out. When he did the meet there. So he asked the Minister of Finance to look at how taxes that are not needed and then nuisance will not be taken out. So for me, President is very pragmatic, and then he's very compassionate. He will do the needful.
So if I may ask you to rate your own government up to this time, what will rate your government? Let's say.
So for me, I can comfortably give 9/10.
9/10. Why 9/10?
Because everywhere has been excellent.
Hey.
Yes. You're a government. It will be a UK, and governance is broad, huge. Because I don't know why we don't want you. Meanwhile, it's governance. People were questions that why would it send supporters to to America for go and watch match? Meanwhile, if I don't know or question why some supporters should be saying to watch a World Cup or no, and no, you're not so UN. Or not with them. People were questioning, so why did he also tag along to the UN? You see, the people who feel said for somebody, the dream is to be part of this history of Ghana and then people say will be BRA. So there are a lot of interests coming around governance. So we're there. But I am being what word should I even use? Humble in my giving 9/10 because I think the president has done exceedingly well. You look at the way the air like freedom be. It will be so people air their grievances, they say their mind, a lot of things. And then I know security wise, what they move in any country, that today na you ne mema no mukrapa. She say that kind of freedom, free to move around and even spend your money. You realize the number of scammers are George, Jata, Sam George, and then scamming itself is going down, and then so everywhere they are all when you said that not.
To me, your government is on course.
It's been on course. It's not me alone. I feel proud. I feel proud to be associated with the government, performance of the government. Are we
not going to experience any doom by this government giving us an excuse because of this
I've told you,
Iran-Israel war? Because now saying I'm not starting complaining, and I know you and I usually
it has nothing to do with.
We used to serve the net, and we see people complaining, say, "The light in the coal, your light in the coal, any light to now they are there." We are also hearing that the ECG will be coming out with some schedules for some areas. Light in the back now they are there. Is it not as a result of this Israel?
No. It has nothing to do with war. It does not. At the moment, I've never heard. No, I've not heard about the minister talking about non-availability of crude to power thermal plants. I've not heard about that. I've not heard about the non-availability of gas to power our plants. I've not heard about capacity shortage. What I've heard about some obsolete transmission lines and transformers, which are facts. I mean, there's a transformer here, and we've been having issues with the transformer, considering the load now it was on. So the engineers came to look at it and they said, "Oh, they need to change the transformer." So you realize, minister had launched, I think, is it 500 transformers to be brought in to help? Because you see, the thing with power is that machine be on a lifespan. So and you know the Ghanaian okoto laptop we now say expiration date. Now say 5 years until say be no why you say it be on discarded. Until say 40 bebe no. What the minister has said and what Gridco, UCE have all said is that there is the need to transform the entire transmission and the distribution lines. So this one has mainly got to do with transmission lines and the transformers. And it's not easy. You need a lot of...
So the outages are planned outages?
They are not planned because it comes intermittent and unaware. If it's planned, then goes the schedule.
Yes,
but
of course there are some schedule out.
No, those were the ones that they announce say they are going to maintain. But I see also baby who are you are not on the maintenance list or those who are they're not cut off. Now it be a bar. Then some are even catching fires and all those ones. And the minister has indicated say all those ones is going to change them. So the whole thing it's not about non-availability or
you're winding up now. Of course, I know you have a lot to do, but today we've taken a lot of your time too. Wrap it up. And finally, what do you have to say to Ghanaians?
Finally, I think a year and some few months into the second coming of Yera Mahama has been a memorable one. It has been that to be proud of. Trust me, for so long a time, when we declared Jesse Day, what was the term that we gave to where almost everyone wore Jesse? In fact, we are in the heritage. We're in the heritage.
That was the heritage month then. Yes.
And I watched a lot of people. That was the Eid al-Fitr or the Islamic Eid, and the joy in Ghana. You see this fubu and saying the Wednesday you see the patriotism. You don't need anybody to coerce you. People feel so proud to be cladded in anything Ghana. You saw the performance at the UN at the world stage. Look, when you go to the international news portals, the journals, and everywhere, it's all about Ghana. Ghana at the spotlight. People saying, "So, dear, am I painful? Be none that no more to me. I know, John Mahama Baya. What? Those are moments of pride. People calling all over. He didn't just fight for Africans; the Caribbeans were included, and then others who were victims of this slave trade. So these are moments. These are pride moments. Apart from now we share appointee krana the reception a bone woman and the young appointees that you can relate with. You came to me, hey bro. I mean, it brings about that kind of relief. So you and then President Mahama has said it time and time again. You have the code of conduct that must be your sorry to say Bible. Live by it. The extent of suppression is not in the system. So, and people, and I wouldn't say inflation is going for the 15th time, it's gone down. So for me, I mean, you have your CD consistently doing 10 or 11. Like a big choir could do 17. Nanka crisis way. So I baby chemo can buy down count events 11. What 20 Can you imagine? So the performance just want to be in Kaya, Ghana for Nanka someone. And that's something region where the course will cry again. To watch, you see, when that sense of volunteerism, or memoir, that should tell you how people take your country serious. And to the extent people are ready to die for your country. Young men, this case, voluntarily goes and they start exhibiting their talent, painting, and there is living memories. Just for me, I think there's no happier moment to live in Ghana than what is happening now. And we are trusting God to say that it should continue, and then say these things should continue. So for me, Ghanaians are happy, I'm happy. That's what I believe. I always say, like, yes, we are human. We build to me to chimakakra, but it's for us to correct. It's for us to want to accept, to make attempts to correct them. I don't know who ye shrunko, but so by night chin na say we feel say the away na wo ye can be there, and I just say I don't know, okay. Until you're happy, I'm happy.
I see you're coming. Onassis, you see, I know be beside say, oh yeah, shut up for an oh yeah, stone boy.
You see, I listen to both songs. I listen. Those are conscious vibes. So I'm to me, I just don't want to be caught in the your friend is saying, shut up for no show me trouble. So I know they are young people. I like their music, I like their vibes. I think there are two people with enormous talents, and then they make the industry fun because either the industry would have been still. Is it the showbiz industry without controversies? It's no industry.
I see.
No, it's no industry.
I know.
It always has to be controversies. They've lived it, and so the showbiz industry without controversy. We live in the days of the legendary Lord Kenya. LK. I've always been a Lord Kenya fan.
I see.
Yeah.
But still, how do we say Manti
That's me a Branty.
Anyway, so what would be your message for the youth out there?
Yeah, so
and then more now,
the Gen Z say,
yeah, you know,
the Gen Z say, one with different level crowd. You always have to rock. I engage Gen Z a lot. I remember lately, I went for a team program in who. Nana maybe sa obi say we masumesi. No say me dey minim no. And these are people that are within a political, and I realize let me say we munya ko you know so ahomane so na omo baby omo hwehwe ye the likes of Kenneth Mon say musicians what are their names, some squad B and then all the far the other they will bend you see here, but will be some penyimu be cry. And they are fun to be with. I'll tell them, say, okay, the nation is for them, and they are the future leaders of this nation. Generation say millennials. So the Gen Z and Gen Alphas, no. They are the future leaders of this one, and they should be involved. They should be involved in the governance of this country. I think they need to involve. When I was young, in my 20s, I was politically aware, and I became aware. I remember when I was in SHS, St. John's, and then we were having our anniversary. I wrote an article titled Ghana Today, and it was one of the best articles. And so it has political undertones, and I was under Akufo. It had political undertones, and that tells you how politically aware I was. So they shouldn't just say, "Oh, me and family, I'm just chasing after money and those ones," but they should be concerned about the governance of this country, and then take to the right path. I know there's always the rush to make it. A lot of people do not care how they make it. Right. It took me 16 years to get to this position. You know that? 8 years NDC was in power. In fact, I had fought so hard for the party before 2008. I never had opportunities to serve in government. I went to school. I worked in the private sector. 8 years we were in opposition. Now we are in power, and I'm a deputy CEO. So it had to take me 16 good years. having
see.
sacrifices. So it's not
Okay,
it's not an easy journey. You need, it's always the Americans have a sense. Something must give.
Yeah, sure.
So you need to sacrifice something
All
to
right.
get to wherever you are. So you want to sacrifice your freedom. You want to sacrifice your precious time to be part of the process.
Right, let me thank you. I mean, that's it. Thank you for having us in your office or in your space today. I'm sure you're Rosalie Kobe Onassis as the deputy CEO in charge of operations and technical. Or Phdc, Petroleum Hub Development Corporation. And Ababenya Sankomoy, but the other citizen Kofi Usu. I always remain your voice. But when I say you subscribe to our podcast on all the social media handles, that's it. Have a wonderful time. Accra.